So in yesterday's session or in last session, we discussed about console class and we have seen what are the different types of data we have with C# and their aliases of the .NET framework we saw yesterday. Even we worked with console class yesterday and we did one or two programs. I think we understood how to create, how to use XML documents, XML comments to make documentation. Similarly, how to pass command line arguments we saw the other day. Today we are going to look into these constructs. The first one is if condition, then switch case, then we look into loops like while loop, do while, for and for each. We are going to discuss about these. Okay, so all modern programming languages, they in fact encourage us to use structured code. Okay, so they always discourage us in using goto statement. Goto statement is not structured. So instead of using goto statement, you can use loop constructs. With the help of that, you can write code in a better way. Okay, so whenever you look at any program code, the code may be sequential, or it may be selectional, or it may be iterations. The code can be sequential, or it can be, say, selectional, or it is going to be iterative. So in the case of sequential, whatever code you write, one after another, they get executed. If you look at yesterday's code, for example, you look at actually the console class implementation. Inside this, you can find code. That code is going to be sequential totally. We have total sequential code in this. This is going to be sequential code. First of all, it's getting evaluated. After that, this particular piece of code is getting executed. But when you look at console class implementation, okay, even in the program.cs, in the program.cs also, we have in the same way the sequential flow of the code. One after another, the code is getting executed here. The statements are getting executed in this particular code blocks. So this is called as here sequential. So sequentially the code is getting executed. So in this, the code is getting executed sequentially. But see, as far as programs are concerned, they may not be always sequential. Depending on certain option, the code may have to be getting branched off to different point. So in such cases, that is called as selectional. We can call that as selectional. Similarly, same code block has to be executed repeatedly in the code. So that is in such cases called as iteration. You can achieve the iterations with the help of while loop, do while loop, for loop and for each. Now let us discuss in detail about the selection statements in the C#. Okay, we have here selection statements in C#. So first one is here if. We can use if condition we can use to make a selection. We have here if followed by expression. This should be a Boolean expression which can be returning a true value or false value, followed by here statement or statements. If it is more than one statement, in such cases we need to do with the curly braces. Curly braces give us a compound statement or group of statements. The statements can be here group of statements. Okay, so similarly, this is what one-way branching. Okay, this is called as here one-way branching. When expression is returning a true value, these statements they get executed. So this is only one-way branching, but sometimes you need to handle the branching in two ways. That means when expression is returning a true value or it is returning a false value. So for that purpose, we can write this way the code. So we take like this, followed by we use here else. Then here again you can have statement or statements. So depending on the condition here, if it is returning this part of code will, if this is returning a true value, this part of code will be getting executed. But when this expression is returning false, this part of code is going to be getting executed. Okay, so like this, you can be forming here a conditional, conditional statement execution you can form in this manner. You can use if condition followed by if is the here the verb we use, followed by within the parenthesis you put actually expression. This expression must be a boolean value. It should return a boolean value, either true value or false value. So depending on that, these will be executed. If this is returning true value, this part is going to be getting executed. If it is returning a false value, this part of code is going to be getting executed. Like this, we can use here the if condition. Sometimes what happens, you need to go after using the if in a ladder structure. So in such cases you can write this way. If you can put expression followed by, you write here statement or statements. I just put here S statements. Similarly, you can go with the else if. You can put here another expression here. You can put one more expression, then you can put here again statements. Once again I put here S. Similarly, you can go with the else part. You can go with here, you can execute this block of code. So this if, else if, else if, else if, n number of times you can use it. So here you are achieving multi-way branching in such cases. This is going to be multi-way branching using if condition, and this is going to be here just two-way branching, and this one is here one-way branching. It's only one-way branching. When condition is returning true value, you execute some piece of code. Similarly, in the second case, what is happening? If the expression is returning a true value, these statements they get executed. Otherwise, this part of code will be getting executed. This is called as here two-way branching of code. Okay, this is called as here two-way branching of code. Similarly, in this case now here, if expression, it is S, else if expression, S we write, and in this way we are going to be executing it. So this is called as here multi-way branching, I can say. This part is called as here multi-way branching. So therefore here in three different ways you can use the if condition. For one-way branching, for two-way branching, and one more thing is what here, multi-way branching. But writing like this if else if is going to be a little bit complex. So instead of that, you can go with the switch construct. So when you use switch construct in such cases, what happens is, okay, so in the case of the switch construct, you can go with n number of actually, you can go with multiple cases. You can have actually multiple cases. So the expression may be returning different values. Depending on those values, you can execute piece of code. So it's going to be something like this. You can put here switch, followed by here, you can put expression, here followed by, you can go with the case. This can be here case. You can have here case, followed by value 1. Then here, you can execute statement or statements. I just put here statement. Then followed by here, break you should use. Similarly, you can go with the next case. You can take case val2 and you can execute. So this way, you can be going with the n number of cases here. You can go with n number of cases. Like this you can go, it is endless, like that you can go. At the end, if none of the cases are matching, if you need it, in such cases, you can do with the default. Okay, so it's going to be default here. When none of the cases are matching, so statement is going to be getting executed. This need not be only one statement. It may be one or more than one statements. There need not be only one statement. It can be one or more than one statement. Even here also it can be one or more than one statement. And at the end, you need to put here a break. So this is required always, a break is required. Even for the default also, break is required as far as the C# switch construct is concerned. You need to have a break with every case. So here, like this, you can be forming the expression. You can be forming the switch construct. Switch followed by expression, then case value 1, we actually execute statement or statements. Immediately after that, you need to come out from the expression with the help of break keyword. Otherwise what happens? It's going to follow case value 2 also. In order to avoid that, we need to immediately break it. Okay, case val1 we have written, it is actually this value is true, in such cases the statement has to be executed. Then after that we need to come out immediately. Otherwise, case 2 also will be followed, case val 2 also will be followed. Suppose the expression is returning val 2, in such cases it's going to be skipping this part and can straight away come into case val 2, so it's going to be getting executed. Similarly, how many cases you put, so that particular case will be getting executed depending on the value it is here giving us. When none of the cases they are matching, in such cases it goes to default, then that code will be executed. Default here case is optional. If you want to put, you can put, otherwise you can omit it. But remember, every case should have a break in that. So this is going to be a switch construct. And remember here, the expression should return an integer value, or it can return a character value, or it can return a boolean value. So as far as switch is concerned, it should return an integer value or a character value, or it is going to be true or false. So like that you can actually use with the switch case. In the case of switch case, the expression should be returning a true value or false value, or it should be, say, a character. And here the value 1 must be constant. Again, you cannot use expression there. It has to be a constant value. We need to take for val 1 a constant. So using that we can execute various cases here. So this is going to be returning a value. The value you have to specify here it as a constant. Like constant we should specify. So these two are selection statements. These two are called as here selection statements. We use them more and more within the, say, C# code, these two things. If condition, any of you have to use regularly. Sometimes switch case also is going to be useful when you are evaluating multiple values. When you have multiple values, upon getting returned any of those values, if you have to execute some code block, it's better to use actually the switch case. So using switch case, you can go with the multi-way branching. In a simplified manner, you can do it. Now, let us try to write some program here with the help of the if condition. So here I am going to introduce a class called as random class. I am going to use here a random class, and one more thing, I am going to use here goto statement. With help of goto statement, I can transfer control back to here previous code block, or into previous code I am going to transfer the control. So that is called as backward jump. With the help of goto statement, I am going to do that particular thing. Okay, so here let me do that. I am going to use if condition, and with the help of that I am trying to make. And in this process, even here I use here a DateTime class. I am going to use here DateTime class object. With the help of that, I am going to create some current date and time. Then using current date and time, I want to display digital clock. Then in that I use an if condition. So with the help of if condition, I can be transferring control back. At the same time, I use the console class. With the help of console class, I can position cursor at the fixed location. So every time when time is getting changed in the same location, we need to print it. So for that purpose, we use it. Now let us try to write with the if condition using date time and a console application which is going to be displaying a digital clock. So continuously, once for every 1 second, it has to change for us. So let us write here the code. Go to this is a new project. Then I write here this one as digital clock. This is going to be digital clock. This way I write it. So this is going to be a digital clock program. I am trying to write here, and this is going to be program inside this. I should do it now. Okay, so here I need to print a clock. I need to print a clock. Therefore, for that purpose, first of all, I declare like this: date time, then followed by here dt. I put this way. I am going to put dt this way here, then followed by console dot here clear. So with this, what happens? Console is going to be getting cleared. I can clear the console. Then I put something like L1, which is called as label. To this label, control can be transferred with the help of the goto statement. Okay, and this clock is going to be getting displayed as long as here we don't press any keyboard key. When you press some keyboard key, in such cases, what should happen? The program should be coming to end. The program should come to end when you press some keyboard key. So that way, I am going to write the code. I created here a variable called as dt. So DateTime dt I created. Now console.clear I have written like this. Now next thing, what I do here is, first of all, I want to position the cursor on the screen. So for that, console dot, very first thing what I do is, I want to hide the cursor. Cursor visible equal to false, I put here. I am going to turning off the cursor in this. I am going to make the cursor visible false in that. Then I write like this, console dot, cursor left I use here. I can go with the cursor left. So in the case of cursor left, somewhere in the 30th column on the screen, from left side of the screen, I want to position cursor. Similarly, console dot, it's going to be cursor right, I use here, sorry, cursor top. Cursor top is going to be in the 10th line. I'm trying to put in the 10th line this one. Okay, I'm going to put this as here 10, in the 10th position, I'm going to keep the cursor. Line number 10, column number 30, there I'm keeping the cursor. And here I print this way, console dot right line. Okay, here put this way, press any key. Okay, press any key to stop digital clock, to stop clock. Okay, to stop clock and exit application. Okay, so this way I am trying to do this. When you press some keyboard key, what should happen? You should come out from the application. You have to come out from application. So whenever, if we press some keyboard key, like that I have written, press any key to stop clock and exit application. Now here, console, the cursor I am moving into left side 30th and the top it's going to be 10. Now next thing here, I should be creating date object here. I can write dt equal to, so this is datetime dot now. So datetime dot now can give you here current date and time. We know that there is a type called as date and time. Now datetime dot now can give you current date and time. Right now what is the date and time? It can give you here. It's giving you current date and time. So I am getting here dt equal to datetime dot now. I can get the current date and time in this. So once I get current date and time, what next I do? I can print it on the screen now. So right here, console dot, right here, you can go with the right, followed by here, we should be printing it. dt dot, I go with the toString here. I can go with the toString, then here in the toString, I can specify the format string for the hours, minutes and seconds. I go with like this, HH:/MM:/SS, like this. I can be using here the digital clock. 24-hour clock I am going to be using in that. With that, it's going to print the hours, minutes and seconds. This is called as here format string. So from this, it can extract hours part, minutes part and second part. It can be printing in that way for us. Now after this, we need to wait for some time. So for that, what I use here, I can use actually thread. So therefore here, system dot, I can use threading dot, thread we have here, thread dot sleep. I can make the system, I can make the process getting slept for 1000 milliseconds. So for 1000 seconds, what happens? The code execution stops. After 1000 milliseconds, it is going to be here again resuming the code execution. Now next thing is here what? If console dot key available, so console dot key available. If any keyboard key is available, so in such cases, what we do exactly? We use here key available equal to false. So therefore here, what I do, I can go to L1. We write here, go to L1. So if key is available, in such cases, I go to L1, otherwise I come to the end of the program. So here what I used DateTime object, then followed by here, as far as this L1 is concerned, L1 is nothing but a label I am giving to the code block. With the help of goto statement, control can be transferred back to L1. After some time, what happens here? The control can be shifted back to L1. That means again same code is going to be getting executed. So this code execution continues as long as I don't press any keyboard key. But when I press some keyboard key, in such cases, it will be coming out from the application. So here console.cursor visible equal to false, console.cursor left equal to 30, console.cursor top equal to 10. That means it goes into 10th line. In the 30th column, cursor is positioned. Now here I take current date and time. Then after that I want to print it. Console.write dt.toString HHMMSS. It's going to be showing you hours, minutes and seconds. It's nothing but a digital clock. Then we write here system.threading.thread.sleep 1000. If keyboard key is available, in such cases what happens? It comes out from application, otherwise the loop is going to be continued for us. Like this we have written. So here you have a thread class. It is nothing but here a static method sleep for 1000 milliseconds. Current thread will be getting stopped. So for the current thread, you can make it getting slept for 1000 milliseconds. After 1000 milliseconds, the code will be getting resumed. So the thread is going to be resumed here. So this way I have written the code. Now let me execute it, how it works. See. You can see it's showing you 656.45. Now I press some keyboard key, it's coming out from that. So this way I have written the code. And what I have written here, if console.key available equal to false, it is nothing but if condition. So whenever the keyboard key is not available, at the time it goes to L1. But if I press some keyboard key, what will happen with that? The program is going to be coming to end here. So program is going to be ending in such cases. So this is exactly what a simple application here I have written. A simple application to display the digital clock. I am displaying here a clock on the screen with the help of this. So I am showing you here a digital clock using here DateTime, and one more thing is what I am using here a DateTime object. Similarly, here I am trying to use I am using here a console class. With that I am making the cursor invisible. Then I am moving cursor into 30th column, 10th row. Then after that I am printing it, the hours, minutes and seconds part. Then I use a thread. With the help of thread I am suspending program execution for 1000 milliseconds. Then with the help of the if condition, whether I press any keyboard key or not, I can identify. So whenever I press some keyboard key, in such cases I exit from application, otherwise I go back to L1. So continuously it's going to be getting executed. So this way I have written some sample program. You can see again it's showing here 6:58 and 17. On the top what is showing, press any key to stop clock and exit application. If I press some keyboard key, now what happens? I am going to be coming out from the application. So again I press some enter key, I am coming out from that. Okay, it's coming out from the application when you press some keyboard key. So like this the program is working. Here we are making a clock. It's nothing but digital clock using actually DateTime. Similarly, using a thread concept we are doing it. So this is a simple application with the if condition. Okay, now here so clock color should be changing. The clock color has to change for us continuously. So therefore here I go with a random class. I introduce here a class called as random class. I use here a random class. So using random class I can make it object R&D, this equal to here new, write it as random. I can pick something like this, and here every time it should be picking some data that is going to be here. I write this way. On the top itself I can declare this one here int choice. So I can write like this, int choice equal to initially 0. But I can pick here a choice. Now I write here, okay, before this one we do it. Choice equal to, I take like here, object R&D, then dot, this is, next I can pick a number here in between, say up to 0 or 1 I would like to pick here. I want to go with 0 or 1 in this. It can take a value from 0 and 1 in such cases. Now here, what I do, in the case of actually 0, it should print in the black color, it's going to be white, otherwise it has to be in the green color. Like that, we need to show it. Here write, if choice equal to 0, in such cases, what we do is, we set actually just background color, foreground color. Okay, then here in this console dot, this is going to be 4 color. Just we use here only foreground color equal to, this is console color, then dot, here this will be green. Try to use here green color. Else what I do in this, else here it is going to be as usual white color. So we take like this is one, then we try to set the white color in such cases. Console color dot, followed by here it is dot white. So, or yellow you can take. Let us take yellow. Like this we are going to be taking here. So this is what exactly we use an if condition. When choice is 0, it's going to be green color, otherwise it's going to be yellow color. That way we are going to be taking it. Now just execute it now. What happens? See. It's changing continuously. Sometimes yellow, sometimes green. Like that it's showing. Okay, so it is showing here different colors for us. Because I am using some option there. Either green or other thing is what, yellow. So when it's 0, it's going to be exactly green, but whenever it is non-zero, it's going to be yellow color. Like this I am using here. So using here random, what I can do, I can pick a random number. It's going to be picking here a value between, it's going to pick a value 0 or 1 in this. You can get a value between 0 and 2 here. So 2 is going to be exclusive there, either 0 or 1 you can get. When you put there 2, what happens here? It can pick a value between, 0 and 1 here. Okay, so less than the specified maximum value here. It's going to be less than specified maximum value. So when I say 2, it means what? Either it can be 0 or it can be 1. Like that it's picking for us. So this is exactly what a random object also have used. To generate random numbers, we can use this. So this is one application. Now similarly, I try to show you one more application, that is, for example, you have a number like 200. Okay, 200 is not a perfect square. To make it perfect square, you need to subtract 4 from this. What you have to do in this? You can subtract 4 from it. In such cases, you can make it a perfect square, because when you subtract 4 from 200, it becomes 196, which is nothing but a perfect square. Okay, similarly, you can even add 25 to that. When you add 25 to 25, it becomes, still it can be a perfect square. But here there are two possibilities. One is what, 4, the other one is 25. So I should take always a smaller value only. I need to take smaller value, and whichever is appropriate there, either addition or subtraction, it should be doing it. So through code we need to achieve it. Now similarly, here we have a value like 220. So in the case of 220, what are the possible values? You can subtract 24 or you can add 5 here. You can subtract 24, you can add 5 there. But what I do in that case, I am going to add 5. I just add 5. So with that it becomes 225. In the first case, I need to subtract 4. In the second case, it should be subtracting here. It should be adding 5. So whatever value is smaller, appropriate action must be taken there. So if it is here 4, it is nothing but subtraction. Here it's 5, it is going to be addition. There are two possibilities. 24 can be subtracted and 5 can be added. Even same thing here. 4 can be subtracted and 25 can be added. So depending on the, whichever is appropriate, that particular number has to be added or has to be subtracted. Okay, so here like this we need to write a program now. So we use their if else again in that. Now let me write here one more in the same thing. I go to this, then I create here a new class instead of, okay, otherwise I write a new program. That's going to be better. A new project, then I say this one as perfect square. I make this as here a perfect square application. So here now inside this I can specify this way here. So I'm going to write int num. I can declare like this. Then similarly I write here double. Okay, then this is going to be sqrt, and here integer part num I write here I sqrt also I can put. That means integral part of sqrt I am going to write. And here we have a library called as math library. With the help of math library, we can perform operations related to mathematical, mathematical operations we can do here with the help of the math class, which is nothing but a predefined class. A math class is available. So using math class, it has many useful methods called as static methods. Without creating object, you can use them, just like console. So console.writeLine you use, that is nothing but a static method. In the same way, you have a math class. Even math class is also nothing but static class. So in the math class, you have a method called as here sqrt. With the help of that, we can find out the square root. Let us write here. But before that, we need to input a number. So this time, I don't enter any number from keyboard. Rather, I am going to be generating using random class. Now random object R&D, this is equal to here a new random I make. I am going to be making this as a new random here. Like this, I created a random object. Now num equal to, it should be generating for us required number. Object R&D, then dot, it's going to be next. Up to, I take here 2000. It can be any number from 0 to 1999. It can pick a value. So number can be any value between 0 and 1999. 1999 is here inclusive, but 2000 is not inclusive, it's going to be exclusive because maximum number is specified here. Now it's going to be generating any number from that. That's fine. Now here, once you get a number, you need to find out square root of it. Here write sqrt, this equal to, write here math. It's a predefined class. Math dot, it's going to be here sqrt. We have a predefined function method that we can call, and you can pass here a double value. But see here, what we have is num is nothing but an integer value. So if you pass here num, will it give any error? Java is actually, the Csharp is what? It's a very strongly typed language. It's a strongly typed language. It does not accept actually the inappropriate types, but integer and double are going to be similar types. And here one more thing is what? It is actually doing widening conversion. An integer can be converted to double because integer is only 4 bytes, whereas double is going to be what exactly? 8 bytes. It can do. But you take double and try to convert into integer, it's not possible. Integer can be converted to double, but double can't be converted to integer. Okay, when you try to convert like that, in that process, some data may be truncated. So that's why it does not support narrowing conversion. There are two conversions. One is narrowing conversion, other one is what? Widening conversion. Now here, widening conversion is taking place. When you say num, it's getting converted to double. So double value will be taken there. Now sqrt equal to math.sqrt num we are giving. Num is giving you here for you what value exactly? A double value you get. Num is getting converted to double here. Now sqrt equal to math.sqrt num, when you say, you are getting actually here a double value for the num. and whose square root you are going to be finding now here. Okay, next thing is what here, I_SQRT equal to, now I want to get only integral part of SQRT. Therefore write here math dot followed by here, I have a function called as floor in this. I can call floor function, then I can pass here a double value. So what I pass here, SQRT I pass. From this I can get only integral part of it. So it's returning what value for us? Okay, so it can't convert, therefore we need to forcefully do it with the help of typecasting feature. This feature is called as here typecasting. Okay, this is what typecasting forcefully you can convert, because math.floor SQRT when you take, it is going to be skipping totally the fractional part. You have only integral part in that. Integral part followed by dot 0 0, you have that. That's fine. So but that double number you can't convert into integer straight away. So therefore with the help of the forceful conversion you can do it. But in this process there is a possibility of losing the number. You may lose the number in such cases. Some part of number you may be losing it, because data is going to be getting truncated when you do with forceful conversion. Now here what happens, I_SQRT equal to math.floor SQRT, it's returning you some number, double number, that we convert into integer. Okay, so next thing is what here, we know we have to compare now, go with if condition. Here what I write, if I write here this way, okay, so one more variable also I require called as result. I require here result. So therefore now I specify like this. I am going to be specifying this way here. First of all I use here an if condition. I am going to use here an if condition. So in the if condition I write this way. This is SQRT minus I_SQRT. If it is equal to 0, in such cases I can write console dot write line. Okay, console dot write line, I can put this here, right, is already a perfect square. Okay, then followed by here I pass the num. I am passing number. Suppose the difference of them is not equal to 0, in such cases go with the else if here, then write SQRT minus I_SQRT here greater than or equal to 0.5 you take here. So if it is greater than or equal to 0.5, so in such cases you need to do this way here. I write like this to make zero a perfect square. So here one is to be added to it. Like this I write the code. But what is the first argument? First one is num I have taken, that's fine. I require here second argument. How to get second argument here? So take now this way here. This is going to be, I have here I_SQRT. I_SQRT plus 1, then similarly here I multiply the I_SQRT again. I_SQRT plus 1, then followed by I subtract num from that. This can give you second argument. This is going to give you second argument. Else, that means if it is less than 0.5, in such cases I try to write in the other way. Okay, now I write to make 1 is to be subtracted. Okay, on the top is to be added, I should put here. Here it should be to be subtracted. From it I should write. Now this is going to be the reverse of this. I remove here this one. followed by here num minus, I should write ISQRT multiplied with ISQRT. Like this, I am going to be writing code. With the help of this, we can find out whether the given number is a perfect square or not. Followed by in the bottom, we write like console.read key. So with read key, what happens? With the help of read key, it's going to be waiting for our input. When you press some keyboard key, you exit from the application. Now here, this program is going to be finding out whether the given number is a perfect square or not. So it's going to pick a number from 0 to 1999, some random number. Whether that number is a perfect square or not, we can find out with the help of this application. Now here, let me execute this. What result we get? See in this. To make 247 a perfect square, 9 is to be added to it. When you add 9 to 247, you get 256, which is nothing but a perfect square. 16 16s are 256 we get. Even you can subtract from 247, how much? 22 you can subtract. But 9 and 22 when you compare, 9 is actually smaller than 22. Therefore, it's picking 9 there. Similarly, once again I run here. What happens? Let us see. To make 1377 a perfect square, 67 is to be added to it. It's saying here. Okay, so this we cannot simply judge. Now let us try to go with one more thing. It says here, to make 1022 a perfect square, 2 is to be added to it. 1024 is going to be, how many times it is? 1024 means, how many times that is going to be for us? Okay, so 24s, some number we get actually. So in the case of 1022, we can find out whether we see subtraction also, is it possible or not. Every time it's taking only 38. Okay, let us try. So it says here again 147.22, 169 you get in that. Okay, here again from 147 you can be subtracting here. So 1 is how much here? 22 you can add to it, it becomes 169. Similarly, here what you can do, you can even subtract. So how much that is? 12 12s? Okay, 144. But I gave here 147. Fine. Let me check this. What is the problem in this? We can see. Oh, this is a problem. So it is going to be here. This is the problem. With the code, we have a problem here. So this code is having some problem. When I put here greater than 0.5, it says that way. Now here, right. What it says, to make 106 a perfect square, 6 is to be subtracted from 8. Okay. So this is what 10 tens are 100, 11 11s are 121. So I mean, how much you need to add in that case? You need to add there 15 to make it perfect square, or you can subtract. Therefore 6 you can subtract. There is no problem with that. Again try to execute it. To make 581 a perfect square, 5 is to be subtracted, it says. That means 576 you get. 576 nothing but 24s, you get 576. Again let us see here. 25 is already perfect square, it is saying here. It says 25. One more we try here. It says 296. It is going to be 7, 289, that is 17 17s. I am looking for actually added. Correct this is. You have here 111. You can subtract 11 from that, or you can be adding 10 to that. When you add 10, you can get 121. So like this application is working for us.